Over the last few months, there's been a lot of noise made about 3D, especially 3D TVs. What we've seen so far hasn't really impressed us, and the technology just doesn't seem quite ready yet. So, how do we rate the Nintendo 3DS? Well, it's pretty good. This is Nintendo's latest portable games console, and the big news is it's 3D. The technology is really clever. It's the traditional kind of clamshell design, and you hold it in front of your face, and the 3D will work so long as it's directly in front of you and about an arm's length away. Whilst that might sound a bit restrictive, it's actually the most comfortable way of holding a handheld games console. Obviously, other people can't enjoy the effect as well, but that isn't too much of an issue as it is very much a single-player experience. So, what did we make of the technology? Well, it's really good. Unlike a lot of 3D, especially on TVs, there's not such a sense of things flying out the screen towards you, which can often be an off-putting and somewhat tacky effect. Here on the DS, they're layered so there's a sense of perspective. This was really good, and the games that come bundled on the piece of hardware, such as Face Raiders and the AR cards, are really clever. Now, the AR cards, as I just mentioned, are these. They're little pieces of cardboard which, when you point the Nintendo 3DS at, will morph and turn into 3D games that you can play. We put them down on a desk upstairs in the office, and what was really clever was that the desk morphed and changed right in front of our eyes. It's certainly the case that the 3DS is capable of these wow moments where you just want to reach out and touch what you're seeing. In terms of buttons, things haven't changed that much. There's still the usual D-pad and buttons. The addition of an analog control stick makes gaming much more fun. Elsewhere, a really clever feature is the 3D camera. This works by having two cameras mounted on the back of the console, so that when you point it at objects that you want to take a picture of, it will merge together the photographs to give you a fairly passable impression of a 3D photograph. Certainly really good fun. Elsewhere, there's a web browser and a store where you can buy online games. Parental controls are also pretty decent, allowing you to restrict access and make sure that only certain types of games can be played on the console. The downside, well, it's a little expensive. Prices range from about £200 to £220. Also, the battery life is a bit shoddy. 3 hours is what we can expect to get out of it, and that means that you're going to be wanting to be charging it up quite often. Also, 3D isn't for everyone. Thankfully, there's a slider switch. You can turn the 3D right the way down or right the way up. It can also play old DS games, so it's entirely backwards compatible. The Nintendo 3DS is out on March the 25th here in the UK, and from what we've seen of these very early impressions, it's going to be a really successful and fun piece of kit.